In amongst the hundreds of comments I've received on these US election videos, there was one in particular which I felt needed addressing.
One of the things that first shocked, then frustrated, and finally now just plain perplexes me is the question: how and why the do 75 million Americans still support Trump? It's not that all of them can't see through the yet many just overlook it.
And that's a fair question, from someone who, try as they might, simply cannot see how Donald Trump, with all his rhetoric, his controversies, his criminal indictments and convictions, is somehow still the standard bearer for the Republican Party. So I'm going to try to answer that, not as a Trump advocate or an apologist, but as someone committed to understanding both sides of a story.
Said, take a look at what happened.
When Trump was shot during a rally in Butler, Pennsylvania, his instinct, after being swamped by Secret Service agents, was to show that while he'd been bloodied, he was very much unbowed, pumping his fist and shouting, "Fight!" while his supporters cheered on. That's what they love about him, the strength which he projects, the conviction with which he speaks, and the disregard he shows for his opponents. It's a big reason why Joe Biden's no longer in the race, because next to Trump, the strongman, Biden looked and sounded weak. Trump is unequivocal. He has literally said, when someone is president of the United States, the authority is total. By the way, it isn't. But it is in that belief that he models himself on the sorts of hardline international leaders who he professes to admire and gets on well with. This is a massive part of the Trump persona, the idea that he is fighting for the everyday American who just loves their country and wants to live happily and free.
My sole and exclusive mission is to go to work for our country, to go to work for you. I am asking for your support tonight so that I can be your champion in the White House, and I will be your champion. I am your voice. I am with you, I will fight for you, and I will win for you.
And you know something? That clip wasn't even from this year's Republican convention. That was from 2016. He took that line then. He has never wavered from it, and he has convinced a good portion of the electorate that it is true. He's also aided by the fact that many Americans feel their lives and the economy were better when he was president. But what's also true is that he is demonstrably self-serving. His motivation is usually tied to some sort of financial gain, and he even admits that he doesn't stick up for the little guy.
I know a lot about overtime. I'd hated to give overtime. I hated it. I'd get other people, I shouldn't say this, but I'd get other people in, I wouldn't pay. I hated.
Fortunately, he has friends in the media to reinforce the fighting for you persona.
The storyline of this election is Trump surviving to fight for you. Him coming back and surviving and fighting hopefully foreshadows America coming back.
Inevitably, I think this may be the linchpin when it comes to Trump's popularity. All over America, all over the world actually, there are people who, for whatever reason, show animosity or hatred to others based on their race, their gender, their sexual preference or identity, the status they're being afforded, etc., etc. Now, I'm not saying they were always quiet about it, but since Trump's political emergence and his 4 years as president, they've been a lot louder because he has been saying the quiet part out loud.
When somebody disrespects our flag, to say, get that son of a bitch off the field right now, out, he's fired.
The Democrats have to now decide whether they will continue defrauding the public with ridiculous bullshit. Would I approve waterboarding? You bet your ass I'd approve it. You bet your ass.
Of course, other leaders swear and curse too, just not usually with such openness. But in doing so, Trump kind of talks like an everyday person. He articulates what some of them are thinking. It gives more legitimacy to their beliefs, because if the president's saying it, then it must be okay, right? I have to say that none of this is earth-shattering research. It is what has been in front of us for years. For people who don't like Donald Trump, it just requires stepping back from the outrage and the disbelief to look at why the things he says and does might just be appealing to someone else.